All right, guys. So it's time for the week 2 recap. So I'm gonna address this real quick. I mentioned that Joe is a Hobbit from before. My team went out, and props to Joe. I got stomped pretty bad this week. Um, he must have called up Gandalf and gotten some wizardry with his team. But know this, Joe, you won the battle, but I won the war this week, and here's why. Latavius Murray is now in a full-blown committee, limiting his value for the rest of the season. Adrian Peterson is maybe out for the year. He might be done for the year. Best case scenario, it looks like 4 to 6 weeks. That's obviously a huge blow to Joe. One thing I will give Joe credit for, though, is the Denver defense has been every bit as good as advertised, unlike some other eighth-round picks, like a kicker in the eighth round, Jared. At least Denver has provided some value as far as that goes. So congratulations, Joe, but your team is now in absolute ruins. So, again, you may have won the battle, but I won the war. So congrats on what's probably going to be your last win this season. Now, Suicide Squad versus Valor Morgulis. Chris versus Cameron, where Cameron was projected to widely outscore Chris. And Chris comes from behind with the upset W behind a great outing from Philip Rivers. This game was not high scoring, 92-68. Neither one of you really had a killer week. But Philip Rivers looks like he's going to be able to survive the loss of Keenan Allen. So that's it. You got to look at that as a positive for your team, Chris. Cameron, you have absolutely no balance on your roster whatsoever. It's even less so after the trade you made this morning with me. You really have all of your assets tied up into 3 players now. But Cam Newton and Antonio Brown being your main pieces, Cam Newton went off and you still only scored 68 points. You got to have balance, Cam. I thought you knew that. Apparently not. So you have absolutely no balance on your team, and you're going to have a rough season the rest of the way until you develop some balance. So, Chris, congratulations on getting the W there. In the team name change game, Jason lost to Tony in a high-scoring affair. This back-to-back weeks, Tony's god-awful team has managed to put up over 120 points behind the decrepit Carson Palmer, who still looks old and certainly is not going to produce this season. But congratulations on squeezing water from a stone from him this week, Tony. D'Angelo Williams is killing it. So once again, Steve, thank you for making Tony the #1 team in the league through the first 2 weeks, because you pretty much single-handedly gift-wrapped that for him. Allen Robinson has been a turd, but, we'll get to that later. It was a great job by both teams in this. Isaiah Crowell putting up almost 21 points, and you still get the loss. Boy, that's got to sting. How much longer are you going to roll Ricky Aguayo just for spite there, Jason? He's not doing anything for you. If you drop him, nobody's going to pick him up. It'll be fine. Figure something out there. But Jason is now named I'm with her because he lost that game. So congratulations, Tony, at getting the dub on Jason. Jason, 108 points. You need to win that game. I'm sorry, buddy. That sucks. Neil before Zod versus that didn't work. So let's get right to it. Jared's 8th round pick, kicker Steven Gostkowski, 2 weeks in a row has been outscored by his opponent's kicker. Once again showing that drafting a kicker, anything before the second to last round, and even that's a little early, is stupid. It's dumb. Don't do it. Don't do it ever. So Justin Tucker actually more than doubled what Gostkowski got. that's going to haunt you for the rest of the season. Jared has no depth and could have had one more decent depth player that he now doesn't have. TJ Yeldon sucks. Steve was trying to trade him to everybody. He dropped him. Jared wound up picking him up. TJ Yeldon is a very, very bad running back. So that was one of my main takeaways as far as that goes. Jared's carrying 3 tight ends. None of them have any value. He's got A.J. Green and pretty much nothing else. Jeremy Langford looks like he's trending toward a committee or maybe even not even getting involved at all there. He keeps losing fumbles. I mean, Jeremy Langford, he's looking really, really ugly right now. Thomas Rawls is hurt again. It's ugly on Jared's team. It's really, really ugly. Steve got bailed out by what had to be the worst 28-point effort any running backs ever put up in the history of fantasy. The Jets just seem intent on hammering Forte and giving him the ball a ridiculous amount of times until he inevitably breaks down and is lost for the season. So, which I expect to happen within the next 3 or 4 weeks. Until then, congratulations. Ride him out, Steve. Nothing else you can do. Forte is horribly inefficient. He's playing on a bad offense, and they're just force-feeding him the ball, even though he's not really doing much with it. Congrats on your 3-touchdown game from that fossil. But, again, he still sucks. He's a horrible real-life running back, and I wouldn't want him on my team. So, moving forward, we have John's great team beat Pack Attack. Man, I didn't think John was going to win a game all year. Congrats, John. 122.46. That's a solid effort. Reasons for optimism for John. Ezekiel Elliott looked a little bit less like Trent Richardson this week. But he did have a touchdown vulture for Alfred Morris, and look for that to be the trend if Ezekiel Elliott keeps losing the football. Alfred Morris is going to start getting those goal line looks. Aaron Rodgers off to another slow start, not really doing much. Larry Fitzgerald's doing fantastic, though. Melvin Gordon for Larry Fitzgerald looks like a pretty high-profile trade right now. They're both playing really well. Danny Woodhead's out for the year. So it was an interesting week, to say the least. A lot of surprises this week. Who would have thought the Saints and the Giants game would wind up being such a clunker, 16-13? Eli Manning and Drew Brees combining for about 20 fantasy points. I mean, who would have thunk that? Just awful. But in any event, that's the recap for this week, guys. There's really not much else to say. I had to eat some crow a little bit this week, but I fully expect I will bounce back, but I will cover that in the matchup preview on Thursday. I will see you guys then.